Hello and welcome. David Baker here for the Fabulous Friday with my family, and I have my wonderful wife Laura here. She played hooky last week. Is that right?
Painted the church auditorium.
Oh, okay. Yeah, played hooky. Anyway,
Yeah.
last week on the Friday one, we had my our daughter, Alyssa on, and had a lot of fun with that. And so we're back. I eventually would like to have all of my kids do this. Now, it's going around my family that I mentioned that, and they're like, what are we going to say? What are we going to do? You're going to have Carson on there too? He's only 13. What's he going to say? So what's he going to say? We don't know what he's going to say, which sounds like it could be fun. And if it's bad, I can just edit out all the bad things. So anyway, so we're going to talk about some relationship things with our children. And so if you do have a question about child rearing, marriage, family, if you have a question about any of that, feel free to email me, askpastorbaker@gmail.com. And if it's a question for my wife or my daughter or any of our kids, we will do that. Okay? All right, so have a dating slash marriage joke. This is old, but it's pretty cute. I enjoy it. Dear tech support, last year I upgraded from boyfriend 5.0 to husband 1.0 and noticed a distinct slowdown in overall system performance, particularly in the flower and jewelry application, which operated flawless under boyfriend 5.0. In addition, husband 1.0 uninstalled many other valuable programs such as Romance 9.5, Personal Attention 6.5, and then installed these undesirable programs such as NFL 5.0, NBA 3.0, and Golf Clubs 4.1. Conversation 8.0 no longer runs, and House Cleaning 2.6 simply crashes the system. I've tried running Nagging 5.3 to fix these problems, but it's no longer available. What can I do? Desperate. Dear Desperate, keep in mind, Boyfriend 5.0 is an entertainment package, while Husband 1.0 is an operating system. Please enter the command http I thought you loved me.html and try downloading Tier 6.2, and don't forget to install the Guilt 3.0 update. If that application works as designed, Husband 1.0 should then automatically run the applications Jewelry 2.0 and Flowers 3.5. But remember, overuse of the above application can cause Husband 1.0 to default to Grumpy Silence 2.5, Happy Hour 7.0, and Beer 6.1. Beer 6.1 is a very bad program and will download the Snoring Loudly beta. Whatever you do, do not install Mother-in-Law 1.0 as it runs a virus in the background that will eventually seize control of all your system resources. Also, don't attempt to reinstall the Boyfriend 5.0 program. These are unsupported applications and will crash Husband 1.0. In summary, Husband 1.0 is a great program, but it does have limited memory and cannot learn new applications quickly. You might consider buying additional software to improve memory and performance. We recommend Food 3.0 and Hot Lingerie 7.7. Good luck, tech support. Thank you and have a great day. Isn't that cute?
That is.
I don't know who came up with that, but thought that was pretty ingenious to put all those. And there may be, what do you think, a little bit of truth in some of
Yeah,
those?
probably.
Probably a little bit. So anyway, so on these Fridays, in case you missed any, you can go back. We talked about how we met, dated, and fell in
Love.
love. Okay. We didn't fall, but we grew.
Yeah.
How to find the one, how to stay pure until marriage, getting married, setting up the new place, children, when and how to discipline them, the misunderstanding, love and respect, the marriage date, intimacy. I just looked at the downloads, and I don't know how intimacy has a lot more than some of the other ones, and we didn't promote that. So I think when people scroll and look through it, like, let me click on that one and see what that one's about. So we didn't get any criticism, so hey, I'll take it. And then last week we did dating from a teen girl's perspective. Even though she wasn't a teenager, she was, and we can talk about it. So, yes?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought she was clearing her voice to say something. So she was just clearing her voice. So because Alyssa talked about dating last time and teen dating, what we did, I thought we would follow up on that and see if we can be helping things to you. So teenage dating. What happens is the girls usually 12, 13, 14 years old want to date. Some of their friends are dating, and there's this boy that's cute, and this person, the boy likes her, and so can I date? Can I date? And dads, no, 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 we don't want that because we remember enough of what that was like, and it's not good. So, no, 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 you can't date till you're, 16 or 17, and we put that restriction on there. But guess how quickly 16 and 17 comes? Boy, very quickly. And then we realized, oh no, we're not ready. And they're not ready. But guess what? You already said it and it's done. Try to go back on that one. Doesn't work real well when you do, because that's what we said. And they will definitely do what they can to try to hold us to that. When I grew up watching the Fonz, Happy Days, every day after school. I think 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30 it came on, and the Fonz and Richie taught us how to date, how they found their thrill on Blueberry Hill, and what dating was to get along with your girlfriend and make out, and then whatever else could happen, and that was the program for dating. Looking back, that is not a good thing and not what you want for your children. And so we early on decided that teenage dating was not going to be something we wanted our children to do. So we taught about it and preached about it in our church. Even though we couldn't control it with them, we could control it with ours. So from the time they were little, we did not talk about you can date at 16 or 17. We taught this. Dating is...
It's preparation for marriage.
It's preparation for marriage. Okay, so the question is...
Well, are you ready to get married?
That's it. Are you ready to get married at 14 or 15 or 16 or 17 or 18? The answer is
no.
No, they're not ready to get married. And so if you're not ready to get married, then why get on the track that will lead you to marriage? Dating is preparation for marriage. And people say, oh, well, you got to date so you can learn how to treat the opposite sex. No, that is not the way you learn how to treat the opposite sex, because the opposite sex comes with something very powerful called sex, okay, called intimacy. Here's what was always said back when we were young, and we are old now, but it used to be said that any relationship within 18 months or less would be ready to go to the next level, okay? 18 months or less. Now, that was when you had to handwrite notes and pass them. That's when you had to call on a phone that was attached to the wall in the kitchen where your mother could hear, okay? Only one phone in the house. That was no texting. That was no FaceTime. That was no video chat. That was no any of that. And that would take about a year to 18 months to go to that next level. Well, a lot of teen dating, they broke up after 6 weeks or 6 months or a year, and many of them didn't get to that. Well, nowadays, what do you think that 18-month time is down to now? Now that you can text 24/7, now that you can FaceTime, now that you can video chat, now that you can Snapchat, now that you can do all those other things that are out there, what do you think that time has gone down to? It is amazing. I did with teenagers and relationships where they started, quote, dating. And boy, it's I love you in less than a week, and trading pictures and doing intimate things just in a few days or a few weeks. It's crazy. And because that's the expectation, that's what's done and set up out there. And so it's totally different. And so we knew very quickly we do not want that for our children. So when they were little, that's what we talked about. So the expectation was you can start dating when you get to college. Now, how many times when kids are teenagers do they have maybe a rebellious attitude, or they want to do their own thing? And what's a great way to be able to do that? With that guy, with that girl. One of the things about us was um, when I was dating a girl my dad didn't like, and he tried to talk to me about her, and I got adamant and said, you can't tell me who I can like. That's my heart. That's my emotion. That's love. And guess what he did? He backed up. Yeah. How do you control that in somebody else of who they like? And that was just hands off. No, that shouldn't be hands off. Everything should be hands on. But it's a lot easier to do that when they're adult than when they're teenagers. Being a teenager, getting married seems so far away. When someone turns 18, it's amazing how our children have not jumped forward. I really thought the day they turned 18, boy, they would be ready to go into relationships. And it wasn't that way at all. When they turned 18, they backed away. And even though they could date when they went to college, most of them didn't. Most of them on their own said, I'm going to wait 6 months or a year. I'm not going to date the first year. These are our teenage boys. I'm shocked. Our teenage girls the same way. And what we did is we taught them, listen, watch. Watch. Don't give them your heart. Watch the way they treat other people. Watch the way they treat their mom and the other girls. Watch their eyes and see what they look at. When someone likes you and you say, well, I'm not dating this year, the right kind of guy is going to say, no problem. So we'll become friends, and next year I would love to take you out. And the right kind of guy is going to be fine with that. The wrong kind of guy is going to go, all right, no chance with you. Go on to the next one and go on to the next one. Those are not what you want for marriage relationships. We'll talk more about it. But so, teenager for you, and again, our parents didn't know this and hear this, and so we don't blame them for that. But you have some older brothers and sisters. My wife is number 8 of 14. So the dating, they wanted to make sure that everything was protected. So how did they do the teen dating?
They sent chaperones along.
Chaperones. And how did that work?
Well, for some of the older ones, they found out that they could pay off the younger ones, and just drop them off at a place, a safe place where
At
they
the
could
arcade.
play.
At the
Yeah.
arcade. Here's $10 and have a ball. We'll pick you up in 3 hours.
Yeah. And that's what happened with some of the older ones. And so by the time I came along, I'm number 8, then my parents had learned these things. So they figured that you had to have at least 2 chaperones because, one wasn't good enough. They wanted to make it harder to pay them off. And so that's what was required. But
Well,
we ended up getting a good pastor and assistant pastor who really encouraged us, really to live godly, live righteously, and not desire those kind of things, and take a stand, as a Christian in our teenage years. And so he got our focus off of those kind of things, which was very helpful.
yeah. And so my wife made it through the teen dating thing a lot better than I did, and made it through all that pure. So the two helped some, and a good pastor and youth pastor teaching, preaching, directing what's right and what's not right. And so a lot better protected that way. But still, how many guys' hearts did you break?
Well, that wasn't on purpose. That was never on purpose. But yeah, I don't know. But
Oh, come on. Tell the story of the guy that followed you to college,
no,
and tell the story of
no. Yeah,
it really is just, it's not a good thing to get started, because if it is the one at 16, it'll still be the one at 19. If you
right.
both stay close to God. But we're not ready for that. And so many times it hurts and hearts are broken and people go too far. We joke about, like, some people, they just got too old and they don't remember what it was like being a teenager.
Yeah.
I turned 55 this week, but I still remember all those things and don't ever want to forget how tough that was, and the feelings and the desires and the temptations, so I can relate and help my kids with that. Now, growing up the right way helps a lot. I'm still shocked. One of my sons turned 18, and he said he just had gotten a good job, and he was doing a training and a trade for what he wanted to do in life and business. And he said, Dad, if you want me to go to Bible college, I'm glad to go. He said, but I don't feel like God calls me to preach. I feel like I want to do business, and God just opened up this training and mentorship and job where I can learn all this. And he said, so I'm fine to go to college. He said, but honestly, if I went, I would just be going more to find a girl, and I don't really feel like I'm ready to find a girl yet. So I think it'd be better, if it's okay with you, if I stayed here and worked this job and learned this trade. And I looked at him and said, who are you? Are you my son? I'm shocked. Here's an 18-year-old kid that's saying that. And he said, Dad, I want to wait for the right one, and I want to build my foundation first. Whoa. I was shocked, and you'll hear from him sometime also. But I was shocked that was the maturity and age where you're thinking through. And that's what happens if you can put off that dating until they flip that switch and now they're an adult. You realize this is not for play anymore. This is for keeps. that rebellious, maybe 15 or 16-year-old, and let's date this guy Dad doesn't like, isn't that way anymore, because now it's about me and my life and future, and it becomes real to them. And so instead of our kids running forward, we held them back, wouldn't let them date during high school. And so, all right, 18, I'm going to run that way. None of them did. They all backed away and said, "Hey, let's wait, let's look, let's make sure we have the right one, because this is for life, this is for keeps." And I think it's a whole lot better way to be able to do that. So, any thoughts you have of what you saw in working with our kids on that, and any other problems that came up? I don't remember our kids having a problem with that. We had one one that passed notes at church through his sister. Never talked, never got in trouble from talking or doing anything, but we found out they were passing notes, and so we put a stop to that, and were very firm and strong with it. And the one that was passing notes told the brother, said, "Don't you ever ask me to do that. I'm never getting in trouble for you again." That never happened. And the boy found out the next week, after he couldn't write notes anymore, the girl that he just knew was the one now started dating his best friend, and they were doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and he found out, and he was devastated. And he saw, you know what? That's not the kind of girl I want to date. That's not the kind of girl I want to marry. And so it was a hard lesson, but a good lesson to be able to learn and say, you know what? Just wait. Just wait for the one that God wants. And how will you know? How will they know?
Well, how will they know that that's the one?
Yeah.
God confirms it in your heart, and you do know.
The
But
phrase is always, "You'll just know."
yeah, I know.
And when you tell that to somebody who has never had that before, then they just, "How do you know?" "You'll just know." "How do you know?" "You'll just know."
And
But
you
it
just
is.
couldn't believe that that was really true, but it really was. One of the things that, though, with the teen dating, when we told our kids that's not what we want you to do, and because you don't need to get on that path too early. What we want you to do is be friends with everybody
Right.
in the youth group, and the big deal about that was, teaching them all just be friends. They were just that. They could be friends with everyone in the youth group, and there was none of that competition over, a lot of times you have these girls fighting over, arguing, and not good relationships over because it's over some boy that they're both vying for.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that in the youth group, then they could all be friends, and the teen group had such a good relationship because we discouraged the teen dating. We said, just wait on that. And so it just really was a good youth group then.
It was amazing. We had a public school teacher in our church, and she taught home ec. And so one of the segment series labs, whatever they called it, they had to do a wedding and a mock wedding, and so they had to prepare. And all the homework was, okay, let's find a dress, and let's get a caterer, and let's make a cake, and so the whole plan was for marriage, and so they had a mock wedding and all that kind of stuff, and all the cake, and to prepare a wedding, which is a big deal to do. And so they gave her leeway to do whatever she wanted to. So one of the things before marriage is you need to have pre-marriage counseling. And so she asked me if I would come in and do pre-marriage counseling. And I said, sure, what can I say? She said, whatever you want to say. You can bring the Bible, you can use the Bible, you can say whatever you want, because you're the pre-marriage counselor. I said, are you kidding? Public school? She said, yep, you can say whatever you want. And so I did that a few years in a row with her, and it was amazing. And it was an all-girls class. This is, home ec. And so I taught it, and they enjoyed it. It was neat, what to look for, what not, what to watch, the 6 major problems of marriage. Anyway, I went through a pre-marriage counseling with them. So then they asked me about dating, and it had gone so well. I mean, here I am, the independent, fundamental Baptist preacher. Excuse me. Ezra, if you could take that cough out. So here I am, the independent fundamental Baptist preacher, and they asked me, what do you think about dating? And it had gone so well. They liked me. It was fun. I was funny. We laughed. And here I'm getting ready. I can't answer this question for them. They're going to hate me. And so I tried to ignore it. And I said, no, you don't want me to answer that. No, we want to know. We want to know. I said, no, you don't. They kept pushing me. And so I said, okay, don't get mad at me. You asked. And I explained to them what we just explained to you. of how you can be friends with everybody. You don't have that pressure. You don't lose your best friend because she now dated your ex-boyfriend and all that. The girls all nodded. These were public school girls. And they all said, boy, that's right. Boy, that's good. I talked about how boys will pressure girls to do things that girls really don't want to do. That's not what they're looking for. But they get pressured into that, and now they feel guilt and they feel bad, and the girls are nodding up and down. So when you're friends, you don't have to do that. And nobody got mad. Every public school, mostly probably unsaved teenage girls, but the logic of that, they nodded and they said, you know what, that's what I want to do. And so it's amazing when you have that. So many times you don't get a pushback from that because people realize, you know what, that wasn't good. I'm amazed at how many times that parents or, you know, the mom and the dad want to live vicariously through them. Here's a worldly dad who'll teach his son about girls the wrong way and live vicariously through them. And sometimes mom's the same way. It's more for the mom and the things than it is the girl.
Yeah, she wants to a lot of times be popular through her child, and it just wasn't a good situation. So we really discouraged that.
Yeah. And so, the kids that accepted that, the parents that accepted that, boy, so much better off in life than ones who went down that path. And you always have regrets. Even if you don't mess up big time, but so many people do, you still have regrets. And those broken hearts, you don't have to have. And when our kids have found the one, it's been fun because you get that phone call. It's like, Dad, I think I found the one. Really, what happened? And it's open and it's sharing and it's exciting. And you get to be a part of your kid's life because it's done the right way. When it's not done the right way and everything's sneaking around behind the scenes and covering and hiding and you don't know what's going on, that's not what you want. And that's not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for you and good for the family. The other thing I wanted to say is what's the best way to teach a relationship then. So, they're going to go into marriage only dating one person and marrying that one person? Sometimes, yes. Our oldest son, dated and married one girl. They've been married. We had lunch yesterday. He said, Dad, can you believe next year will be 10 years married? Wow. 10 years married and a couple years dating. And our daughter, Sarah, dated one guy. And they're married and got 5 children, one on the way, and hey, it's going well. And so it doesn't always work that way, but is there anything wrong with that? Not at all. Well, how are they going to learn those relationships? Very carefully, and I mentioned this a little last week, but the best relationship to prepare for marriage is brother and sister because your family, you have to live in the same home, you have to share, you have to work, you have to function together as a family. And so if the brothers learn how to treat their sisters, and if the sisters learn how to treat their brothers in kindness and respect and in mutual working together, that would be the best preparation for marriage that they could ever have. Now, when you get married, by the way, so much of marriage, as you know, it's not all bedroom intimacy, okay? That's a great part of marriage, but that's not 24/7. Most of the hours of the day, okay, you're married, you're in a family, you're in a relationship, and it's working through all the problems that you have to work through, like a brother and sister would, except in marriage, now you have the blessing and the intimacy that comes with that. And so we work hard to teach our girls how to treat their brothers, teach the sons how to treat their sisters. And if they do that right, when they get married, they will not have a problem with that relationship. So work on how they treat their mother, their dad, work on how they treat their brother and how they treat their sister. They will not have a problem in relationships when they get married if they've learned those things right. So any other thoughts, questions? And we're going to close this one down.
Um, no, I think that what you were saying was all good. That was what I was going to comment on before, just
Yeah.
how they treat each other. That a lot will determine how they treat husband or wife.
Yeah, it is. We want to be the kind of example to them for them to see our relationship, but also what we allow with that brother and sister is really going to be a lot of how that marriage is. And we have 3 of our children married, a couple more pursuing, a couple more next to pursuing, and another one's right back on the heel of that. And so, we're seeing that, and boy, we couldn't be any happier than what we taught and what they accepted and what they're doing. And I would strongly encourage you, no matter what age your kids are, the last thing, say, well, okay, what if my kids are already teenagers? And what if they're already dating? Okay, have this talk with them. Logic with them, help them understand, try to get them to see. It may be hard if you already said they can to pull it away, even though I still think it would be better to do that. The best thing to do is to teach them this and help them to see it where they make that decision with you and say, you know what? I agree. I think that's good. That's the way I want to do this relationship and back up and just be friends. And so I would work on that, helping them to to see it themselves that way. So that's the way they decide to do it. So I would work on that. I would pray that way. I would talk to them that way. I have logic. I would help them. Even if you know want to get a counselor to be able to help and talk with them, it would be worth it. You might save a life relationship and a whole lot by that. So. All right. Well, hey, we will see you next time. And so thank you so much for coming. Get wisdom. Get wisdom for your family, wisdom for your children. It is such a big deal. We have one shot, one chance to raise our children the right way. And then the rest of our life, we live with that and we watch and see what we did. And so the good and the bad. So, all right. God bless you. And we'll see you next time.